Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be looking at the different houses in a horoscope and what each house indicates and what are some of the natural significators of these houses. So starting off, let's look at the ascendant or the first house. So the ascendant or the first house in any horoscope is considered to be the single most important house in a horoscope chart. Even when you're looking at divisional charts, you need to look at the house, the first house, and see the strength of the first house and the lord of the first house to determine how strong that specific divisional chart is. So the ascendant is considered to be the single most important house in any horoscope. The ascendant indicates one's own self, one's own personality, and one's own thinking. And also an ascendant is said to be indication of one's success in life. So the stronger one's ascendant is, the stronger the possibility is for the person to be successful. In our body, the ascendant is said to control the head. So all of our thinking, all of our thought processes are all controlled by the ascendant power. So this is all indicated by the ascendant. In your natural horoscope, the first house or the ascendant is being controlled by Aries, and Aries is being ruled by Mars. So Mars indicates all of these things that is ruled by the ascendant. So Mars indicates your body, your own self, and your own personality. So all of this is being indicated by Mars. So moving on, the next house that we are going to be discussing is the second house. So the second house is indicative of one's finances, one's values, one's material goods, and one's ability to speak and learn. So these are all controlled by the second house. So the second house is primarily an indication of wealth and also one's family lineage. So the second house in Vedic astrology is also called as Dhana Bhava. So the second house projects financial position and also the affluence of the person that the family that they are born into. So second house does not necessarily indicate the money that they are earning by their own, but the second house indicates the money that a person is born into. So usually it's accumulated wealth that they are born into. So it's not a wealth that they are creating out of their own. So that is all indicative of the second house. Second house also indicates one's own face. In the body, they also control the teeth, the mouth, and the throat. So all of this is being indicated by the second house. So anytime a person has a very strong second house, they usually have very pleasant looking face. They have a very good speech, and also they have like really good family. They come from a very good family lineage, and usually they are born into rich, wealthy family. So these are all indicated by the second house. In the natural horoscope, also called as a Kalpurusha, the second house is Taurus sign. So Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus becomes the indicator for all of the things that I mentioned. So Venus becomes an indicator for your face, for your speech, and also your wealth. So all of this is being controlled by Venus in one's own horoscope. So whenever you want to look at these aspects for a person, you need to look at both Venus as well as the second house and how strong these two houses are and what are the planets that are placed in the two houses. So these all need to be considered when you're looking at the second house. So the next house is the third house. So the third house mainly controls one's communication and one's own ability to communicate things. So the difference between the second house and the third house is second house controls your speech. So basically what it controls is how pleasant your speech is, how strong your voice is, and like how appealing your voice is. So that's what the second house is all about. But whereas the third house is, what do you do with that voice? What do you do with that speech? How good are you with your communication skills? How good are you with your convincing skills? So all of this is being controlled by the third house. Third house is also called as Sahajabhava, which means that it controls your younger sibling. So it having a very good third house lord or a very strong planet sitting in the third house always indicates that you would have a very good relationship with your younger sibling, and also you would have a very good younger sibling, like somebody who's very prosperous themselves. And third house is also called as a house of courage, as a house of valor. So third house indicates one's own confidence, one's own courage and valor, and ability to do things on your own. So having a very strong planet in the third house also indicates that they will have a lot of courage and valor. They will have the ability to do things on their own. So having a planet like Mars or Sun in your third house usually indicates that you will have a lot of courage to do things on your own. You will have a lot of self-confidence to do things on your own. So having a planet like Saturn sitting in the third house would restrict the level of courage, to restrict the level of confidence in you, ability to do things on your own. So these are all controlled by the third house. In the natural horoscope, the third house is controlled by Gemini, and Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. So Mercury becomes the natural lord of communication, younger siblings, and also one's one ability to conduct business. So these are all indicated by Mercury. So anytime someone wants to see how good their communication skills are going to be, how good their relationship is going to be with their younger sibling, and what level of courage or confidence they're going to be having, they have to look at the third house, the planet that is sitting in the third house, and also the lord of the third house. So that will give us a good indication of their courage, valor, and also their relationship with their younger sibling. Fourth house. So, fourth house in Vedic astrology is all about your roots, your conveniences, and your happiness in this life. So, fourth house basically indicates your motherland, which is basically your roots, and then your nourishment from the mother, how your relationship is going to be from your with your mother, and also how happy your life is going to be. So, usually it indicates the level of convenience that you would be getting in this lifetime. If you would be able to have real estate, if you would be able to have cars and any other conveniences in your life. So, all of this is going to be indicated by the fourth house. So, having a very strong planet in the fourth house always indicates that you will be having a very happy and a convenient life. You also will have a very good relationship with your mother. If you have a harsh planet or a malefic planet sitting in the fourth house, usually that indicates that there will be some level of strain in your relationship with your mother, or there can be some health issues indicated to your mother, or it can also indicate that you yourself might be deprived of conveniences or happiness in this lifetime. That is, you might have to struggle a little bit to get those things. In the natural horoscope, the fourth house is indicated by Cancer, and Moon rules the fourth house. So, Moon controls one's own emotional maturity, Moon controls one's own relationship with the mother, and the level of motherly nourishment that they are going to get in this lifetime. And also, their conveniences, happiness is all being controlled by Moon. So, anytime you want to see how convenient your life is going to be, how happy you're going to be in this lifetime, and also your relationship with your mother, you would have to be looking at the moon and also the fourth house and the lord of the fourth house. So you need to see the condition of these two planets, and you have to like assess on how good your relationship with your mother would be and how easy and convenient your life is going to be in this lifetime. So that is for fourth house. Fifth house. Fifth house in your horoscope is usually indicative of your progeny. So it usually indicates your ability to have children and also the number of children you'll have and your relationship with your children. Fifth house is also called as a house of creation. So it also indicates your creative ability. So how good are you at creativity? How good are you at arts? How good are you at theater? All of this has been indicated by the fifth house. Fifth house is also called as the house of romance. So this is more indicating of short-term romances. So this is not like long relationship, like a marriage or like a 10-year relationship where you have kids without marrying. So this is fifth house is usually indicative of short-term romances that you will have in your life. In the natural horoscope, the fifth house is being ruled by Leo, and Sun rules Leo. So sun becomes a natural indicator for your children. Sun becomes your natural indicator for arts, creativity, and short-term romances. So all of this has been indicated by the sun and also the fifth house. So the natural indicator of fifth house related matters is Jupiter. So Jupiter is a natural indicator of children, your progeny ability, and your relationship with children. So these are all indicated by the planet Jupiter. So anytime you want to see how good your creativity is going to be, how good your chances are to have children, your relationship with children are going to be, and also your romances, you would have to look at the fifth house, the Lord of the fifth house, and also Jupiter for your progeny prospects. So these are all the important key factors that we need to consider for fifth house related matters. Sixth house. Sixth house is one of the three Dushtana houses in Vedic astrology. In Vedic astrology, there are three houses, 6, 8, and 12, which are assigned to govern the various challenges that we will be facing in this lifetime. Sixth house specifically is assigned to govern any challenges related to our health, challenges related to our finances, and also enemies and opposition. So, sixth house controls the diseases that we would be getting in this lifetime, the debts that we would be incurring in this lifetime, and then the type of enmity and opposition that we will be facing in this lifetime. Based on the planet that is sitting in the sixth house and the ruler that is governing the sixth house, the type of disease, the type of debt, or the type of opposition or enemies would be differing for us. Sixth house is also an indicator for service. So anyone who has their career lord sitting in the sixth house would usually end up in service, or even like there is a chance that they go into a law field because sixth house is also an indicator of litigations and law. Sixth house, another indication of sixth house is um, another indication of sixth house is co-workers. So the planet that is sitting in the sixth house or the sixth house lord itself will indicate your relationship with co-workers, what type of co-workers that you might be having, and your regular work environment. So these are all indicated by sixth house. In the natural horoscope, the sixth house is ruled by Virgo, and Mercury becomes the planet that is ruling Virgo. So, the natural indicator of deaths, conflicts, and enemies are Mars. So, Mars needs to be looked at for also determining what type of disease you would be having, whether you would be incurring very serious deaths, and what are the type of enmity or opposition that we'll be having. So, we need to look at both Mars as well as the planet that is ruling the sixth house in your own horoscope. So, these two needs to be analyzed to see the types of oppositions, disease, and deaths that we'd be incurring. So that is for the sixth house. So the next house is the seventh house. Seventh house in one's horoscope is usually indicative of the long-term relationships that we'll be having. So seventh house relationship is more of partnership, contract, and the businesses that we'll be doing in this life. So different from the fifth house. Fifth house controls more of short-term relationship, romantic relationships that are very short-lived, whereas seventh house are more long-term and a relationship where a formal contract has been established. Where a contract can be an actual marriage certificate, or sometimes it could even mean like you're giving birth, and then by that you have an established relationship with that person. So a long term permanent relationship is being ruled by seventh house. By permanent, I mean that you would be having a long term effect throughout this lifetime. So that is being ruled by the seventh house. Seventh house also rules the masses. So first house is all about yourself, your personality, your preferences, and your thinking. And the exact opposite to the first house is the seventh house. And seventh house rules all about the other person, the masses, your spouse, and the people who you would be doing business with. So these are all controlled by the seventh house. So having a very strong seventh house and the seventh lord is very, very important for having a good relationship with the other people. So that is why this house has been seen for marriages, your business ability and how good you would be in politics, because seventh house controls your ability to interact with the other person, or the masses. Seventh house, the natural indicator of seventh house is Libra, and the planet Venus. So Venus is your natural karaka or indicator for your relationship, marriage, business. All of this is being controlled by Venus. So anytime you want to see your condition of marriage and your condition of any long-term relationship, your ability to conduct business, and also your potential with being in politics or any mass media relationship, then you would be looking at the seventh house. So seventh house, Lord, if there's any strong planet or any harsh planet that is sitting in the seventh house, then that indicates that there would be some sort of turbulent relationship in your marriage or even in your business partnership, or if you're involved in like politics, you might have some sort of like a turbulent relationship there. So planet like Mars or Sun would give like ego clashes or some violent incidents that might happen in your marriage or in your long-term relationship. And having a very strong and pleasant planet in your seventh house would actually make a very would actually bring in a very good spouse for you or a very good business partner for you, and that would make things better for you in your life. So having a very strong Venus, or having a very strong moon in the seventh house would give you a very good spouse, a very beautiful looking spouse, a spouse who would nurture you and take care of you. So these are all the things that are being controlled by the seventh house, and these are the planets that would be impacting the seventh house. Eighth house. Eighth house in Vedic astrology is called as the Randrabhava. Eighth house is the second Dushtana house in Vedic astrology, along with the sixth and 12th house. Eighth house controls any sudden event that happens in your life that would bring about a transformation. So it could be a ending of a relationship, it could be ending of your life, or it could be getting sudden wealth or sudden profits or sudden inheritance that would completely change your life. So eighth house is all about transformation. So it would bring in a very sudden event that would cause the transformation. So a lot of times events like divorce, death, or ending of any relationship, ending of any major events in your life are all indicated by eighth house. Eighth house also indicates hidden things. So, any hidden knowledge or any hidden treasure or any information that is not readily available to the outer world is all being ruled by eighth house. So, eighth house becomes a major indicator of occult studies, studies like Vedic sciences, astrology, numerology, all of this is being controlled by the eighth house. Eighth house is also your in-laws because it is the second from your seventh house. So it rules the family of your spouse. So it also indicates how good of an in-law you're going to be getting. So the planet that indicates the eighth house related matters are Mars. So Mars in one's horoscope indicates any sudden transformative event. So it could be a death, or it could be a death of a relationship, it could be an accident. So all of those things are being indicated by Mars. So anytime you want to see the issues related to eighth house and what type of challenges you would be getting regarding the eighth house, you need to look at the eighth house lord, the eighth house itself, and also the planet Mars to get a good sense of it. Ninth house is called as a Dharma Bhava in Vedic astrology, and ninth house is considered to be one of the most important trinal houses in a horoscope. So, ninth house is all about higher learning, it's all about religion, very righteous living, and spiritual inclination. Ninth house is also called as a house of luck and fortune. So a very strong ninth house would usually indicate a person with who's very very lucky, who's very very fortunate, and also who believes in the religious system and who's very righteous and who's very very like a very positive person. So, in the natural horoscope, the ninth house is controlled by Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So, Jupiter becomes the indicator for all of the above previously discussed information. So, Jupiter indicates luck, Jupiter indicates fortune, Jupiter indicates whether you'll be spiritually inclined, Jupiter indicates whether you'll have higher learning, how righteous you would be. So all of these things are being controlled by the ninth house and Jupiter. Ninth house is also an indicator for higher education. So people who want to pursue higher education, master's degree or PhD can all look into the ninth house and the ninth house lord and see that, if there is a chance for them. Is the ninth house strong? If it is strong, then that indicates that they will be having a chance to have higher education in this lifetime. So these are all considered to be the aspects of ninth house, and ninth house is considered to be one of the most important houses in the horoscope, and that needs to be seen there. 10th house. 10th house is also called as a karma bhava in Vedic astrology. So 10th house is a main indicator of the career or the profession that would be doing in this lifetime. 10th house is also an indicator of power and status and the level of success that we are going to have in this lifetime. So having a very strong 10th house lord or having a strong planet situated in the 10th house will always indicate someone having a very strong career or a strong profession and a very good level of success and fame. Planets such as Rahu sitting in the 10th house will indicate massive level of fame in whatever field that they are doing in. And also their 10th house lord itself will give you an idea of the field that they would enter into. And in the natural horoscope, Saturn indicates the career for each individual. So we also need to take into consideration the placement of Saturn when we are looking at career. So Saturn would give us an idea of the level of commitment that we have towards our profession, how good we are working under somebody else. So all of this would be indicated by Saturn. Having a weak or a combust 10th lord or Saturn might indicate that there might be some challenges that is coming through for your in your profession. There might be a lot of changes in your profession, or your profession might not typically what you were expecting it to be. So all of this would be indicated by looking at the 10th house lord and the planet that is sitting in the 10th house. 11th house. 11th house in Vedic astrology is called as Labha Bhava, which means the house of gains. So this is another money house that we have to be looking in addition to the second house. So 11th house is actually the money that you're going to be making in this lifetime. So the difference between the second house and the 11th house, the second house is the money that you're born with, whereas the 11th house is the money that you would be making through your profession. So that is the difference between the second and the 11th house. 11th house is also indicative of your friends and your social circle. So it is going to show the type of friends that you are going to have. Are you going to be surrounded by people who are positive towards you? Or are you going to have a lot of friction between your friends? Is your social environment is going to be productive for you? Is it going to be a supportive environment that you're going to have? So all of this, so Saturn should also be looked at in addition to your 11th house lord to see, how gainful you're going to be in this lifetime and the kind of social circle you're going to have. So all of this needs to be seen for determining the strength of the 11th house. 12th house. 12th house is the last house in a horoscope chart and it is considered as one of the three Dushtana houses. 12th house is called as a Vyaya Bhava and it's associated with losses in this lifetime. Compared to the other two Dushtana houses 6 and 8, 12th house is usually a milder Dushtana house. 6 and 8 are considered to be a more potent or a more strong Dushtana house compared to the 12th house. 12th house also indicates spiritualism and your ability to detach from materialistic things. So that is also indicated by the 12th house. 12th house also shows foreign settlements. So we need to look at the planets sitting in the 12th house to indicate, to see the type of losses that we are going to be facing in this lifetime. And also we can also assess the level of spiritualism that we would be having in this lifetime. A very spiritual planet like Jupiter or Ketu will always indicate a higher level of spiritualism in that person. Could also potentially mean that the person is aligning themselves towards spirituality, someone who's a sage or someone who's a monk. So house is also an indicator of sleep and bed pleasures. So we also have to look at any planets that are sitting in that 12th house to see if there would be any disruptions to our sleep or if we would have any difficulties going to sleep. A planet like Mars might indicate that there might be some disruptions in going to sleep or we might have trouble going to sleep. So Even a debilitated 12th house can show that there might be some issues with sleep, there might be a lot of losses happening for us, and foreign settlements might not be positive for us. So, 12th house needs to be analyzed for mainly the losses that we are going to be facing in this lifetime, and whether we have the ability to be spiritual, and also if we have any foreign settlements coming for us. So, all of this needs to be looked at for the 12th house. So these are the 12 different houses that are there in a horoscope chart, and the different significances of each house, and the planets that are going to be the natural significators for each house. So based on the type of planets sitting in each house and also the strength of these planets, the results would be varying to a greater degree. So I hope this video was helpful to learn basics of astrology. So please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you found this video useful. And also email me if you need any consultation or if you need any questions that needs to be answered. Thank you and have a good day.